Hello, we simultaneously analyze the real estate market and macro trends in capital markets. This is Build Lab Archive Global, delivering investment insights from experts holding qualifications as architects, licensed construction engineers, and masters in real estate development. Welcome back. So today, we are jumping into a story that has completely taken over the markets. The absolutely unbelievable vertical surge in the price of silver. This is a wild one, folks. It's got geopolitics. It's got high-tech, and a story so dramatic it feels like it was written in Hollywood. Okay, just to put this into perspective, get a load of this chart over the last 2 years. Silver hasn't just performed well, it has absolutely crushed everything in its path. We're talking a 318% gain. That leaves even the AI superstar Nvidia in the dust. It's more than doubled what gold did, and the S&P 500. It's not even in the same conversation. This isn't just a rally, it is a full-blown eruption. And, you know, a move that big, that fast naturally leads to the one question on everyone's mind. What on earth is going on here? Are we looking at a massive speculative bubble that's about to burst, or are there some really deep fundamental forces at work that have changed the game for silver, maybe for good? To really get the excitement here, you first have to understand the story that's been lighting up the internet. And it's a good one. It's this gripping narrative of a global silver heist. A coordinated raid by some seriously powerful players to break the big bank's alleged stranglehold on the price. This timeline really lays it all out. Like a thriller novel, it kicks off in October 2025. China makes a huge move, saying it's going to control its silver exports. The US immediately fires back, officially calling silver a critical mineral. And then, get this, on a really important day for futures contracts, the main exchange just goes dark for 11 hours. I mean, you can see why this series of events got people connecting some serious dots. And look, this wasn't just some theory bouncing around in the corners of the internet. When a guy like Elon Musk, whose entire empire from Tesla to SpaceX runs on silver, comes out and says, this is not good, well, that adds a massive dose of credibility. It suddenly made the whole situation feel very, very real. Okay, so at the very heart of this whole heist story is a concept called naked short selling. The theory goes something like this. For years, a few huge banks have been artificially holding down the price of silver. How? By selling insane amounts of paper silver. Basically, IOUs for silver they didn't actually have in a vault somewhere. They were creating supply out of thin air to keep a lid on the price. And that brings us to the climax of the story. The raid. The narrative is that a powerful group of buyers, maybe led by China and some big tech companies, decided to call the bank's bluff. In December 2025, they didn't want cash for their contracts. No, they wanted the real thing. They demanded delivery of 64 million ounces of physical silver. That is a gigantic number, way up from the typical 5 or 10 million. They were essentially trying to empty the vaults and see if the silver was even there. It's an incredible story, right? A true David versus Goliath tale for the modern age. But how much of this blockbuster narrative is confirmed fact? And how much is just compelling fiction? Let's try to separate the two. Okay, first up, China's move. The story you hear is often that China banned all silver exports. The reality? A little more nuanced, but still a really big deal. They put in a strict license and quota system. So they're not completely cutting off the world. But make no mistake, they are tightening their grip and making sure their own massive industries get first dibs. And what about the US countermove? Well, the claim that silver was declared a strategic asset is a slight exaggeration. What actually happened is that it was added to the official critical minerals list. Now, that's not the same as classifying it like a weapon system, but it is still huge. It's the US government formally saying, hey, we absolutely need a stable supply of this metal for our national security and our economy. And that mysterious outage? The heist narrative says it was sabotage, plain and simple. The official story from the exchange? A lot less exciting. A data center cooling system failed. Now, was the timing incredibly suspicious? Absolutely. It fueled all kinds of theories, but as of right now, there's just no public evidence to prove it was anything other than a technical failure at the worst possible moment. Now, this next point gets a bit technical, but it's super important. The exchange definitely raised margin requirements. That's the down payment you need to trade 4 different times. The claim is that they did this on purpose to smash the price and help the banks. The reality is, raising margins is a standard play. It's what exchanges do to try and calm down a market that's going wild. It for sure hurts the people betting on higher prices. But it's a predictable move, not necessarily proof of a backroom conspiracy. So, if the simple heist story doesn't quite hold up, what's really going on? Well, the truth seems to be less about a single villain and more about a perfect storm of market forces, and funny enough, a lot of the verifiable facts that fueled the heist story are actually just symptoms of these much bigger things colliding all at once. To really wrap your head around silver's new reality, you have to know this: unlike gold, which is mostly for money and jewelry, silver is an industrial powerhouse. A whopping 63% of all silver gets used up by industry. It's in solar panels, EVs, 5G towers, and yeah, the data centers that are powering this whole AI revolution. This isn't just a small uptick in demand, it's an explosive structural shift that's rewriting the entire supply and demand book. So, what we're really seeing is 3 huge forces all crashing together at the same time. 1. You've got real geopolitical risk, as the US and China start to get serious about controlling critical materials. 2. You have a massive long-term boom in industrial demand from all the technologies that are building our future. And 3. All of this is happening in the silver market, which is kinda small and twitchy compared to gold. That means even small shifts can cause these enormous price swings. Okay, so you've got the crazy story on one hand, and these powerful fundamentals on the other. How do you even begin to think about what happens next? Well, instead of just trying to guess the price, it's way more helpful to have a checklist of signals, things that can tell you which way the wind is really blowing. So, here's a pretty good framework for cutting through the noise. Are the exchanges hiking margins again? That's a headwind. What's the US dollar doing? A stronger dollar usually puts pressure on metals. Are the big silver ETFs seeing money flow in or out? That tells you what big investors are doing. You watch these things together, and you get a much clearer picture than just staring at the price all day. And all of this leads us to the final multi-billion-dollar question. Has silver fundamentally changed? Is it now the essential metal for the entire AI and green energy future, justifying this insane valuation? Or has a really compelling story just fueled the classic bubble that's waiting for a pin? We've laid out the facts. We've laid out the story, but the next chapter? That's still unwritten. What do you think is next? For more details, please refer to the pinned comment. Thank you for watching.